Hey everybody, Adequate here with another SimCity tutorial. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and today we're going to be covering roads and streets, the heart of how your Sims will travel throughout your city. We're going to go over a few of these streets here right now, quick and simple. We have low density dirt road, low density streets, medium density, high density streets, medium and high density avenues, and then the high density streetcars. To place your roads and streets on the left hand side, you're going to have a few icons. We have the straight road, we have the square road, we have the arced roads, pretty awesome. We also have curvy roads. Thank you SimCity for listening to us wanting curved roads. We also have the ability to make circle roads as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the different type of roads we have, and we'll see what they're good for. To start, we have the low density dirt road, 2 simoleons per tile. You can say it's dirt cheap. It only has stop sign for intersections, so something to remember as well. Next, we have the low density street. This is probably going to be your go-to road when you first start out for any newly growing city. Next, we have the medium density street. And you'll notice that the grid lines for all the dirt road and the low density street, medium density street, the high density street all pretty much have the same distance between them. That's because the distance between them is about 24 meters, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But as we get into the avenues, you'll see the distance between laying the roads down with the grid lines is going to be much bigger at about 48 meters. And all this has to play with how your city builds and how you're going to be placing your residential and commercial zones. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at each one of these individually, and we'll kind of go into a little bit deeper detail. So let's take a look first at the low density dirt road that we have here. And again, the low density dirt road at 2 simoleons a piece, really good for industrial zones. Just remember one thing, that they only have stop signs, and they're not really good for high traffic. So we'll get into placing the zones later here. The next street is going to be the low density street, again kind of like the dirt road. However, the Sims are able to travel a little bit faster on these roads, but again the crossroads are still only going to have stop signs. So again, something to remember as well. 4 simoleons a piece, not too difficult to design your city to start off with when you first start. The next segment here is the medium density street at 8 simoleons a piece. When you're starting to grow your city and upgrading from the low density, the next is going to be high density as well. And again, only stop signs with that one. The high density streets at 10 simoleons a piece will allow you to get into the growth of your city. You now have red lights to deal with in here, and it's really a big change. The medium density avenues now is when you're really starting to grow your city and making your city large. You want those big high-rise towers, and you'll be able to get those high-rise towers with these avenues. You'll notice the space between the avenues versus the low density zones are much greater. So, and that's again something, when you're designing your city, is something that you'll want to think about. Otherwise you'll have to rezone and demolish your roads and everything else. And as you see here, when we're placing the zones, you'll see the side against the street and then how far it goes in. That's equal on both sides, so that zone will be able to zone on both ends of the street. If you're going to mix match the avenues with a lower density street, you'll want to remember that whatever side that you zone on is going to be the side that grows. So if you try to put a low density on the street that's a low density versus the side that's a high density, then the high density area is not going to be able to zone and build, because the low density is taken up and does not require enough space. So that's something that you'll want to remember when you're zoning out your cities and when you're laying down your roads. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about the actual designing of the roads. You saw how straight roads are put. We're going to go ahead and talk about the square roads. So click on the square roads and any one of the roads, and you'll see when you draw your mouse out, it will actually draw a square. It'll draw a rectangle. If you want a square, simply hold down the shift key and drag out, and it will make a perfect square, which is really nice if you want perfect straight lines all the time and not have to worry about any type of rectangles or anything like that. The next one is going to be the arc. This will allow you to draw an arc from one point to the other. Draw a little horseshoe right there. But if you hold down the shift key, it will actually pin the first point at a 90 degrees, so it doesn't let you draw a complete arc. It'll just kind of arc out from that one point specifically. This is one of my favorite ones here, is the Curvy Road. You click on it and you just kind of move your mouse around and it will draw a curvy line as long as it sees fit, and it's pretty nice and pretty straight. The thing with this one is if you hold down the shift key, it will draw a straight line. So if you're drawing a curvy road and then you need a straight area, you don't have to switch. You can just hit the shift key and it'll automatically draw a straight line. The last one here is a circle. You can draw a circle road, you can draw an ellipse road. If you hold down the shift key with this icon, it will allow you to draw a perfect circle, which is really nice. For those people who like those European cities, the circle roads, great combination. Alright, so another thing we can talk about here is upgrading your roads. So if you have these low density dirt roads, instead of bulldozing them all, a good feature here in SimCity is the ability to upgrade your roads. Now remember, when you upgrade your roads, it's also going to upgrade the ability of your zoning as well. So it won't have the low density zoning anymore, and now your zones will be able to fill up with those large skyscrapers and the really tall buildings. Residentials will be able to put in condos and things like that. It's really amazing. And the last one we have to upgrade here are the avenues. The last thing that we can upgrade those to is the streetcars, which will come in handy later on for traffic issues. I'm sure there's a lot more that we can cover, and there might be a part 2 to this as well, but this is adequate. I hope to see you guys in the game. Thanks for watching. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments. Thanks you guys. Have a great night.